All right, so we're gonna do a short question and answer. Obviously, we have a panel of some select employees here just to kind of ask what we're gonna, or ask the questions that we're all gonna be kind of familiar with, or that we want to know. So I don't know if you guys want to start around the table. We want to start with Tom, Jody. Jody's gonna just steal Tom's
I
questions.
know, so he better go first. Go ahead.
Or maybe we should start with H&I and say, hey, what are the typical questions you get about the policy? You guys are gonna know probably more than we are. What makes the everyday care portion so different than the traditional insurance? Because the first thing is am I covered? Well, we kind of went over that a little bit, but to get the scare away from people?
Sure. I think the first thing you have to change in your mindset is right now you're just gonna call your doctor and try to schedule an appointment. With everyday care, the first step is you call the 800 number and they're gonna help direct you on what the next step is. If that's gonna go see the doctor about a sinus infection or a sore throat, they will set that up for you. If they can handle something over the phone, they can call in a prescription or they can help you there, that's gonna be all it takes. So that's the first thing I think that to change that mindset.
So the first step is calling that number, the 800 number you mentioned. Who is it that we're contacting? Who's on the other end of the phone, I guess is the question.
The initial person you will talk to on the phone call is someone that's gonna help direct, triage what's going on. If need be, they will get a doctor on the line to help go through those steps.
Okay.
So we make the phone call, and that's for doctor visits, and if we have to go to the hospital, if it's an emergency, I think it was stated that if it's an emergency, go to the hospital. And then you contact them afterward, and they negotiate the prices with the hospital, even though they don't cover the hospital. This is everyday care now. Even though they don't cover the hospitalization, they will still negotiate the price
On your behalf.
on our behalf.
Correct.
And so the big question is, and since we know traditional insurance is very bloated, I think we're gonna try to attach a video to it as well to kind of explain where the prices of the hospitals come, because we've all been there. You go to the hospital and you see this bill and you're going, what in the crap? Why is this so expensive? They didn't even do anything. And you're talking thousands of dollars. So can you give us a briefing of how traditional insurance is bloated? Like, why is it bloated? And you don't have to go into depth, but I mean, you were saying as far as percentage-wise, when traditional insurance is involved, what do they usually charge? What is the hospital charging that traditional insurance, typically?
Yeah, I mean, that kind of goes to the underlying problem with healthcare these days, is that there's no checks and balances. So when someone's going to the doctor and they have a procedure done, there's no one really looking at that bill and making sure that they're not overpaying for something or paying duplicate charges. There's third-party vendors out there that have actually proven that only 90-95% of the bills have mistakes on them that never get caught. So when you see that healthcare is keeps going up every year and every year, there's no checks and balances. And where this model comes in, they're gonna actually call and dive into what's going on, what was treated, and try to bring that price down to what it should be.
Now, what do they compare it to? So you say the price to what it should be. I mean, doesn't the hospital deem what the price should be, or is that
Is there a
deemed upon
baseline?
something else? What's the baseline?
Without trying to get into the weeds too much, the largest payer right now of medical claims is Medicare. And hospitals and facilities will set what it costs, and it's what Medicare usually reimburses. Now, the Blues, United Healthcare, Priority Health will reimburse usually 200% to 600% more than what Medicare reimburses. And that's where the problem lies in, is that when you have a $3,000 deductible with United Healthcare, you're on the hook for the first $3,000. And then after that, you're on the hook for the 20% of the bill. Well, they're not negotiating to get that bill down lower, it's just they're not incentivized to do that. So you're paying a much higher amount without the checks and balances in place.
So if Medicare says, hey, for this particular surgery, it's going to be $1,000. With your traditional insurance, it could be $2,000 to $6,000 for the same procedure.
Correct.
And then, so with the everyday care though, they come through and they say, hey, do they have a target? Do they say, no, that procedure deemed by Medicare is $1,000? Do they say, hey, it can only be $1,500?
They shoot for a goal of 130 to 175% of Medicare.
Okay.
And the facility and the hospital, knowing that you're gonna be paying cash, they're not getting reimbursed by United Healthcare or the Blues or Priority, they're very likely to take that. They're incentivized to do that because it's hard for them to go and try to collect the money that's out there.
Okay, so the question I would have then is, everybody's scared, if I don't pay the premium, am I getting less quality of care?
No, the care would be the same
Okay,
as if you had United Healthcare.
okay. You're going to the same hospital,
Same
dealing with the
hospital.
same doctors.
Correct.
Yep.
It's not like you're going to the alleyway doctor, where you have to walk down 3 flights of stairs. And just-
You're not going to Mexico or another nation to get covered. No, that's very
What's wrong
true.
with my doctor?
And the nice thing too, coupling with the Aflac policies, is if you do have that accident, or there's a cash reimbursements from Aflac that'll help pay for those costs.
Okay.
Awesome.
So that, I guess that kind of leads into the next thing, Aflac. I've heard really good things about Aflac, I've heard really bad things about Aflac. I guess it all depends on who's been dealing with them, and in some cases, I've heard that Aflac's really expensive. I guess I don't see that, it seems like Aflac is pretty affordable. But Aflac covers what? So you get a particular injury, and they cover a set amount for one particular thing, or they obviously don't cover all your hospitalization. You go into the hospital, and let's say you have 3 procedures done. Do they deem a certain amount for each individual procedure?
It depends on the procedure. So if you go to the emergency room or urgent care, you get $200
Okay,
because you had to go to the emergency room. If you go to the emergency room or urgent care and you get an x-ray, you get $250.
okay,
So if you get a concussion, once per accident, within 6 months of the accident, you get $500.
okay. And that's just a straight payout?
It's straight. You can do, this is your money, it's your money. You can do with it whatever you want. You
Okay.
should pay your bill with it.
Right, yeah.
Because it's not going to be covered.
And we're not suggesting to create injuries to get cash reimbursements.
Right.
This is if those accidents do
Right.
happen. I know what you're thinking, Jordan, right now, is you're gonna go run on the wall.
Yeah.
You're gonna go get a concussion right now, aren't you?
I can easily forget where I am.
Yeah. If you have an eye injury and they remove a foreign body from your eye, it's $250.
Okay,
If you dislocate your shoulder, it could be up to $3,000.
so this is another question that I have. If I go into the hospital and the hospital has reins to charge me 200 to 600% of what they should be using Aflac, because Aflac and Everyday Care, they aren't affiliated. Okay, but we can still call Everyday Care, they will negotiate the rate
Yes,
down to where
Yes.
hopefully it should be, or approximately where it should be compared to Medicare.
correct,
And then we get the Aflac reimbursement
yes.
for the particular amount that is deemed by policy.
Yep, so if you go, let's say you have an ER trip because you think that you broke your wrist. And so you're going to urgent care ER with an x-ray, you're gonna get $250 from Aflac. And then you call Everyday Care and let's say they negotiate your rate down to $400. Then you can take this $250 and pay it towards your $400 bill. And if you don't have $150 today to pay the whole balance, maybe they can break it out a couple, 3 months for you. They can help set up a payment plan.
Even on the hospitalization, they will set up
Yes.
a payment plan.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's stuff that so they don't cover hospitalization, but they're still basically your voice when it comes to, and I know we've all had that where, you call a doctor and say, hey, what's this procedure gonna cost? Hey, do you have insurance? Yeah, I do.
Right.
Well, we can't tell you what that procedure's gonna cost. Well, what do you mean you can't tell me what the procedure's gonna cost? Well, we
Right.
really just don't know. That doesn't make any sense, but with the Everyday Care, they know and you know prior to really even getting the procedure done, or you have some kind of an idea.
Yeah, if it's a
right?
planned surgery in the future, you will know that upfront.
So you can plan for it, instead of getting that surprise bill in the mail from, 3 bills in the mail from each different sector of the hospital that you visited, right?
Yeah. If you have an ambulance ride, they pay $400.
Okay.
So there's a whole booklet that Jody will have that lists out all the different, there's a fracture schedule. So if you fracture your leg, it's $4,800
Okay.
that you would get towards that bill.
So an ambulance ride, you get $400.
Yes.
That's better than Uber. Just saying.
Yeah, yeah.
So, okay, let's say you were, my fear has always been, what if I get in a car accident on the way here, and then you get rushed to the hospital? Your auto insurance covers that, right?
In
Michigan?
In Michigan, most of the time, the medical insurance is primary, most of the time.
Okay.
But if you don't have medical insurance, then you have auto.
So if this is the case though, you're gonna,
With everyday
care,
Then your auto.
the auto covers it.
Mhm.
So that would get rid of probably 90% of people's accidental
Sure.
worries.
Typically,
is
that's the
getting in
highest
car
risk
accidents.
activity you have is
Yes.
driving your car.
I mean, if you're skydiving and bull riding and race car driving, you might wanna have additional.
Yes.
Yep, so not only do you have this accident insurance that pays per dislocation, fracture, concussion, whatever, it's also coupled with a hospital indemnity policy. So this policy pays per confinement. So if you are admitted to the hospital, you get $500. So if you're admitted to the hospital for fracture, you get the money here, plus you also get it here.
Oh,
So there's a lot of ways, and then if you are in the hospital, after that maximum confinement period up to 31 days, you get $100 a day towards that hospital bill.
and that's with the additional indemnity.
That's with the hospital indemnity.
Okay.
So with the everyday care, you get the group Aflac, accident and hospital indemnity along with your everyday care.
Okay,
Yeah. So this will definitely help pay some of the bills. The hospital indemnity also has a health screening benefit on it. So that means that if you go in for a health screening, they will give you $50. So all you gotta do is go in and get your well child care. If you have a family policy, they send you $50. Go get a mammogram or a colonoscopy, they send you $50.
so everyday care is covering that check at your doctor.
100%, and then Aflac is giving you 50. And that you can do with whatever you want. That's fair.
You know, that's your pay, you know, your fuel money and your lunch to go to the doctor that day.
Yeah, yeah.
Or maybe recover some of the, maybe, you know, if you're an hourly paid employee, that will cover some of your loss in wages during the week or something like that.
Yes.
With everyday care, if you call the 1-800 number and they call your family physician, they negotiate the price for your visit, are you then obligated to complete that visit? Or can you say, boy, I really don't like that price everyday care? Can you call another physician for me and see if I can?
Sure. The nice thing about the everyday care is if it's just a visit to go see your doctor about an ailment, you're not paying anything anyway. So the fee that they negotiate is just between everyday
It's
care
their
and your
fee.
doctor.
What
So
if
you're
it's a step further, if it is an
If
injury
it's
or a
like an
broken bone
MRI,
or?
if it's an MRI, and they will find the best place for you to go.
Okay,
Ultimately, it's up to you. If you don't wanna go to the MRI, you don't have to.
so
You
once
can
they
go
do the
where else you
legwork
want.
and do the negotiation, you're not locked in. You could say, I still don't like that, could we perhaps check another one?
Yeah.
And they'd be willing to,
Yeah.
To do that.
They're gonna call to find you the best price before they call you back.
okay. I mean, I can envision an instance where, you know, you wanna get something done in Muskegon, a specific test run, then you find out that Muskegon, the price is just too high, then could we go look at Grand Rapids, or
You
could we look at
choose-
Holland?
Yeah.
And
choose
kind
the
of
radius.
expand your,
Yep.
okay.
You
So
choose a
choose where you
radius.
go.
where
So you could
wanna
set
go.
the radius up front,
Okay.
and
Yes.
say, I wanna look in the Tri-Cities, or,
Yep.
well, that's
They're gonna do-
fantastic.
You
They're
can
gonna
say
do
the
all that
state of
legwork.
Michigan.
Yeah, they're gonna do all that legwork for you.
I can see that would be very helpful for specific tests that, you know.
Yep.
Especially for the drivers.
Yeah, that's true. So now here's the thing, can they go, as an over-the-road driver, let's say you're in Dallas, Texas, and you have a horrible cold and you need to pay a doctor visit. Can you call Everyday Care and they'll find you a doctor in Dallas, Texas?
Yes.
Versus having to come back to your primary
Yes.
care or I know a lot of things with traditional insurance too, you have to be in this pool
There
of.
is no network.
There's no network.
There's no network.
No
It's
network.
network is
Yeah.
not.
Wow.
Yep, if
okay.
you're out in Dallas and you do need to go, hopefully they can help you over the phone and just call in a prescription for you.
Right.
But if they do think you do need to be seen, they can set up that appointment for you.
So an over-the-road driver with a chronic condition that once a year has to have a specific test run, Everyday Care would have the capabilities to go, you know, if you would do that in Tennessee on your trip from Michigan to Texas, we could save you X amount versus you could have it done in Kentucky for this amount, or they can actually shop state to state as well.
You would have to give them that
That's-
parameter up front when you call. You
In-
say, I'm
yeah.
gonna be in Tennessee tomorrow, or I'm gonna be in Kentucky on Friday.
Right.
you know.
They can
Which
certainly,
they should be able to do.
Yeah.
Right, I'm just thinking for some of our drivers that have pre-existing things where there's
Yeah.
tests that have to be run
Yeah, you just have
annually,
to
they could
get-
actually shop that around.
It's been a huge thing with operations, because the guys will say, hey, I have to be back, on this day, at this time. And unfortunately, it's come into play with, their pay. They're getting paid a lot of times by the mile. Well, hey, I gotta get them back early. You can't just magically make freight to work with everybody's schedule. So a lot of times you have to get them back extra early or have them leave extra late because of their particular schedule. A lot of times it's to do with hospital visits, to where if you can say, hey, you're gonna have some extra time, we know you're gonna deliver at 8 o'clock in the morning and we don't have a reload until 6 p.m. Hey, you can get that doctor visit scheduled for this coming Friday when you have that 4 or 5 hour gap.
Right.
And that might be perfect for
I can
those
see that as a
guys.
huge benefit for an OTR guy.
Okay, how about a specialist visit with the everyday care? Would it cover like a dermatologist or chiropractor?
Chiropractor is covered, as well as your primary care physician.
you get 24 chiropractic visits a year.
Oh, okay. So then the dermatologist wouldn't be covered under
No, but
that?
they'll negotiate a payment schedule for you.
Okay.
And if it's like a dermatology visit because of a burn, then you have your
Yeah.
Aflac policy that's gonna
Right.
pay you for your burn.
Okay. Okay. Well, I did have another one. What is like the turnaround, say if I get a sore throat and I call that 800 number? How long does it take before somebody tells you, okay, go ahead and go into the doctor now?
It's generally pretty quick, I mean, it's not days.
Okay.
Sometimes it takes them a little while to, find a place for you to go and to get a hold of the person, if it's over the lunch hour, that type of thing. But
Right.
they generally call you back pretty quick. If they're trying to find you, a place to get an MRI, it's based on the schedule of the machine, right? If they're trying to find you a doctor to go to, it's probably pretty quick.
Okay.
And if they can triage it over the phone, it's instant.
Oh, okay, so if it's a
Okay.
sore throat, they're gonna say,
Yeah.
hey, do you have white dots on the back of your throat? Now, it looks like you have XYZ problem, here's a prescription.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Yep, this company has been around, for a long time. It's very prevalent out west, and it's moving its way across the country, because employers and employees are so fed up with deductibles and all of the money that they're paying for healthcare. So it's moving this way.
Well, and someone like me, so I have a family, our insurance is crazy expensive, I'm on the same plan that we've been on as a company, I'm on the company plan, and we just simply don't use it. Not saying that, if something happens, we wouldn't, but, I think we've been on really the company plan probably for 8 years, 9 years, and we've had one hospital visit, no doctor visits at all, one hospital visit, we paid how many thousands and thousands of dollars to insurance. I'm like, man, if I was able to just put that money away and have it collecting interest somewhere versus in some, cloud area that I'm never gonna get to touch, we'd be a lot better off, and we'd have money to pay for a lot of this stuff out of pocket at this point. But it's all gone. I mean, once you're done with that year, it's vanished, it's on to the next. So that's, I guess, my big interest with the everyday care.
If you are just an employee covering yourself, it's gonna cost $50.59 a week for the United Healthcare. For the everyday care, it's gonna cost $0.
Right.
So you could take $50 that you're paying weekly and put it into a separate savings account. And so that if you do have to have hospitalization coverage, you've saved $200 a month.
Right.
And if you don't, it's still your money. You're not paying it as a premium to a health insurance company, you're just setting it aside in your own account.
Right.
So is there a limit to how many visits with everyday care? How many times you can go to the doctor?
You just call that a number.
So you could go every day if you wanted to go?
Every day.
Okay.
And it's 100% covered, no copay.
No copay, no deductible.
Okay, what about prescription coverage?
They have the minimum essential coverage drugs that are covered, and then they go into a discount program. So again, it's just like going to the doctor's office, they would call the pharmacy, negotiate the price for you. But then there's also an app called Good RX, and you can go put the specifications of your prescription in there, and it will spit out various locations within the mile radius that you put in that will say, go to Walmart, it's $4, go to Costco, it's 40.
Okay, well, how do we know what minimal essential, what are those, is there a
The-
list?
There's a list on the internet, and then I can see if I can get you a list as well, but it's like
Okay.
your amoxicillin, those are free at Myers anyway.
Right,
Some blood, like blood pressure,
Probably
it's some
metformin,
maintenance
different-
drugs,
Yeah.
okay,
yeah.
okay. Urgent care visits, is that included, urgent care, hospitalization? Well, we already talked about the hospital, but
No,
what about
urgent,
like urgent care?
urgent care is not, it's only your primary care visits and your chiropractor plus your wellness.
Okay,
But again, they'll negotiate the price. Why are you going? Aflac accident probably will cover a lot of that for you.
right,
And then, I mean, if you have a sore throat, don't go to the urgent care. You
right,
have to use each location properly. Do you have chest pains and your arm is numb? Yes, don't go to urgent care, go to the hospital. But if it's something, on Sunday night that can wait until Monday morning, go to your doctor. Because each time you bump up a level of care, you're bumping up hundreds of dollars.
With regards to Aflac, I think it's worth mentioning that the employee owns that Aflac policy.
Absolutely, and if they should leave Luther, they can take that with them.
That'll
Pay for
never
it on their own.
happen, I mean-
No, I don't know
They
why they would
shouldn't,
want to.
right.
Yeah, they would not.
Unless there's insanity or something along those lines, then of course there's coverages for that.
There's
too.
coverages for insanity,
Yeah.
sorry.